Hey guys, my name is Keyboard Matrix, and I thought today we could just go through the mixing and mastering process of the Avengers theme video that I had posted about a few months ago. And if you haven't checked out that video, do check it out. I'll link it in the I button at the top. And yeah, so this is what it sounds like. I'll just play a part of it. Okay, this track basically consists of 41 tracks in one session that I have done. So all these are here are actually wave files. I couldn't really retain the MIDI because the MIDI would consume a lot of CPU. If I had the MIDI project open, it would consume a lot of CPU, and I don't think could have recorded. So 41 tracks is what is listed here, but with the MIDI session file, there's about I think 68 tracks. So in those 68 tracks have been consolidated into 41 tracks. So I've combined quite some number of them into one. So mainly, for example, the kick and hi-hats are here. Not the best idea to combine these two, but I think that time I was not exactly a professional at putting all this together. So starting off with this riser, right? I'll just try and solo these so that you get an idea of what we have to mix around. So this is how it goes. It's basically that ride in the drums section. So it kind of gives that sustained effect in the starting. It feels like a riser, and I've called it here first riser long, so it's kind of gives a sustain over there. The next track that we have here is the riser short, so I'll just solo that, and this is what it goes like. So it feels it's like that orchestral drums that they use, and so basically it's been kind of compressed. I applied a compressor in the MIDI session and then I exported it. So these two basically this gives the high end, the high end of this thing. So if I play these two together, so you can notice that this part gives the high end, the air and the presence part, whereas this part gives more of the lower 100 hertz, 200 hertz kind of a region. So if I just go to the mixer panel and I open this up, I'll drag this here. So I've cut out the low ends from the cymbal, the first riser long, slightly reduce the mud a bit here, and increase the presence here, because the reason I've increased the presence here is that I mean, in this section of the audio, apart from this riser, I mean, this all is not playing, it's just the riser over here. So if I switch off global solo and I play here, so from that to that region I can maybe brighten those elements. So that was my thought process behind this. So the next part, right, let me minimize this. Yeah, this is a Spicato Strings. I think in the song you can distinctly hear this in the starting. If you listen to the original cover that I did. So nothing much. It's just that G minor variation. It's like I think G and D, G and D, G and D sharp, G and E. They're played in that spiccato style, spiccato, staccato style, like that, in those strings format type of rendition. So I'll just play this part towards the middle. Yeah, and then after that, nothing much in that spiccato strings. So there has been some level of processing done to this. So let me just open this. This is the compressor. So I just found this preset here for strings, and then I just I think I manipulated the attack and release a bit more. Maybe because the spiccato strings were sounding a little, they were sounding like a little piercing in the ear compared to the other elements. So I thought, applying a compressor with a little bit of a ratio, not really large amount of it. I think that will do for that. And coming to the equalizer, decided to cut off this part because I felt like this part was kind of the low end was kind of rumbling a lot. I don't think for a spiccato strings it needs to rumble over here as such. About 66 hertz. I mean, could have been more, could have been less, but I was like mixing this at very low volume, so I found that there was some rumble here. I decided to remove that. A little bit of 100 and 200 hertz because the kick drum is coming at that portion. So I didn't want this like fighting for space with the other elements. Then a little bit of presence here because it's the characteristics of strings, like you have to give it a bit of presence here. And of course the sometimes in string instruments you often hear that screeching sounds. They usually happen around in that frequency. So little bit I reduced it. Yeah, about 1.5 decibels I reduced it. So yeah, that's about it. Then you have the Spiccato Base. Yeah, this is one. Basically, I'll play this. Yeah, like the previous Spiccato strings, it goes until the pre-chorus part, right? So it's I'm just playing around with the G note, playing it in a spiccato style, the bass section in a strings. And here what I did is I actually removed the presence of this thing. Now we have to keep in mind that we have to like mix 41 tracks, so you're going to have to end up like removing presence out of strings. But this is the bass section, so I thought this is not a very steep slope, and it's not going to remove. I mean, it will sit in the mix. That's most important. So this is the rumble area of the strings of the bass section. I decided to like use this low cut, this strict low cut filter at 20 hertz, just to avoid that like that. I don't know, the 30 hertz, 40 hertz over, like in case those were popping out in the mix. I decided to remove that. I removed this portion a bit because that is the resonating part doesn't really sound good, and this is it gives the nice boominess of the strings. I think it this sit well in the mix. Where I had cut from the other sections, I had actually complemented it. I had supplemented it by putting it over here. raised it by about 2.7 decibels at 131 hertz. The 100 hertz area, basically, not very specific. So next, we have the first to end hit. I'll just play it. Yeah, so this is basically just that sense of orchestral drum percussion level kind of a thing. So basically it just plays at every so I think it plays at the first beat of every bar, and in some cases the third and fourth beat of every bar. So it just goes on until the end, and I did some editing here, and then until the end it basically just proceeds. So it just follows the beat. Oh yeah, speaking of the beat, this is actually 120 beats per minute, in case you're wondering. Avengers theme. So that's one thing. Now the next, the Tremolo Riser. Let's have a look. Yeah, so this is the transition from this area, the Spicato Strings. Right to when the brass section starts, the lead brass section starts playing. So that's where this is like a nice musical transition, rather than that that kind of a transition. So I mean, it's there in the original song anyway, so I put it. Yeah, that's good. Next, the Cello Melody. I'll just solo that. Yeah, so it's like it's a melody that it's basically actually adding up with the brass section lead, just sort of give it a little bit of airiness, like to give it a bunch of airiness, so that yeah, it fits in the mix. It's a good lead. It gives a good support to the lead section. Yeah, nothing much about this. It's just a you programmed the brass section, and then I just applied the same thing onto the cello. So over here I've cut out this is the mud area. No need of any low end, because the orchestral percussion is taking over that. The usual boosts and a little bit of cut over at the 20,000 hertz. Basically, in case you're wondering, this is just that strings preset over here. I think it's here. Yeah, it's about here. And then after that, I just manipulated a bit, so that's why I think it's it's changed the name here. Yeah, that's what this is. Now I'll maximize this. Yeah, this is. Yeah, so actually what I believe I must have done, these two are actually a single track in the MIDI file. But because we are proceeding into the next part, like if you listen closely between these two, back. Yeah, so the part where this proceeds from that da, 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 da. That part, I thought that this might not, these two, I don't think they can sound the same. Because over here, if you look at this sounds a bit more airy. That's what I would think about it. Yeah, so I've boosted a lot of this to give it that presence, that typical strings presence. And the same thing, I removed the mud, I removed the low end, not really needed because we are playing single notes here, and these notes are like I think in the alto region. I think, yeah, they're in the alto region. Yeah, so that's what that is. Next, these are the bells, so I think this gives like a good a pleasant ringing sound in that starting part. So I'll play it. Yeah. Nothing, it's just two notes that are being played like in full speed. That's why I've written here first bells fast. So for this thing, I think, yeah, I cut out most of the, like up to 1.8 kilohertz I cut out. So I didn't want any of this resonances happening here, the mud, nothing. And this was this kind of that screeching sound again in the bells which I removed. And yeah, this is the strong region, in the sensitive region in the bells, so I thought this fit perfectly. And anyway, up till now there was no track that was occupying in this bandwidth, so I thought, why not, you can raise it a bit over here, nothing's going to happen. It will be a good contrast. Right, that's the bells. And then the fast spiccato, I'll solo it. Yeah, this is again the same concept as the bells. They are playing at full speed, and they are the spiccato strings. Over here, I have again low cutted it here. I didn't want all of those. Provided a very sharp high cut over here, nearly 48 decibels, the maximum. Again, this is the presence area of that strings. It gives it a bit of air, but I don't want I don't want this region. It will sound really it'll sound almost like a bit of static is happening or something. So I just removed that, and a little more sharper cut at 600 hertz. Yeah, that's the spiccato. Yeah, now coming to the brass section, right? So the brass section, I'll play. Yeah, so basically this is a brass section that actually, if you can hear closely, it's been slightly detuned. I reduced its like that fine tune or something. I reduced it a bit. So the reason why I did that is there is actually another brass over here, right? I'll play these two together. Right. When you have two brass sections like this, and one is slightly detuned from the other, and you pan them right and left over here. This is in the right, a bit in the right, about 53, and that's in 53 in the other way, in the left. It gives a lot more stereo width. So you're not actively adding, like if I did not detune this while exporting, what would have ended up happening is basically the volume would have got higher. That's not really the point why I wanted it to happen. It's not like you can add brass sections one top of another and then it'll just give you the stereo. That's not how it works. You have to be quite careful that these two sound very close. So there are two ways by which you can give them more stereo width. One is you reduce the pitch of one compared to the other. Another is you can have another brass sample as such from another company or something. So they're essentially playing the same thing, and then you pan them. One is left and one is right, and you can do. The way I think I did was I did both. Actually, I used different brass samples and I panned them left and right. So that's how that turned out. I'll just play it one last time. This similar pattern just extends all the way up to the pre-chorus area. So yeah, that's the brass section. And the next part we have this is just another brass section but at a higher octave. So again, I panned that left as I thought. So and I'll have a look at the EQ. Yeah, so a lot of it has been cut out here and a lot of presence here. This feels like a lot, but the thing is the net gain of this as such will not be that high for a brass section. I feel like for a strings it would like peak at 0 or something, but yeah, you can see the increase here is not that much, but it certainly provides some level of, yeah, that's what that is. The typical orchestra, like you play it in the higher octave and it sounds more grand. The next part, yeah, this. Yeah, so this is actually the I believe it's the chorus part. For some reason I could not rename this to chorus. I don't know why I didn't do that. It's written here pre-chorus. But yeah, so these two are playing different. They are the same instrument, but they are playing at different octaves. This is actually playing at this is playing at tenor and this is playing at the bass region. Sorry, let me solo it. Yeah, so again, so these two require different level of processing. So here it's the presence, and here, yeah. So this, I don't think I necessarily reserved it for the bass area. Maybe this region I wanted it the most. So I mean there are plenty of other instruments in this session, like in this project file that cover up this area. So I thought this area from 500 hertz 1K might be something worthwhile to put it. Yeah, so that's that. And then you have the power brass chords. I'll just play it. This is also, I think, a little mistake in labeling. This is not actually power chords. They are the same instrument, but I think I should have named this as power brass. So this one is yeah, it's just a higher octave of another brass section. I think I showed one earlier that was doing the same thing. So it's just to give a bit of stereo width. Yeah, because I've panned it right here also. Now this is what is actually power brass chords. I think there's a bit of reverb. Yeah, I applied a bit of reverb here. I sent it to a reverb bus with a concert hall. I just played around with it a bit. I think I increased the length also a bit, and I locked the mix at 100. So how much did I send? Yeah, I've sent about minus 8.8 to the bus. That gives it a bit of yeah, the reverb just adds up with it. I just felt it while I was mixing. I should have it. Now next is this. Yeah, these chords are at a higher octave, right? So when I have a look at this, yeah, so is the typical low cut a bit at 20 hertz, and then there is 500 hertz a bit cut. I didn't want too much of warmth or that room as they call it. A bit of a mud is not going to be too much, and 5 kilohertz. That gives it a good presence. Again, as I mentioned before, even though this looks like wow, 8.3 decibels you've gained, but in reality, if you look at it, it's not that much. It's just playing triads. So in E minor, D major, then C major. So that's what is going on here. Then we have this. I believe this is the ending point, ending part of this thing. That gives it that that ending vibes, that it goes higher, and then comes down, and then again rises up and then falls back. So in a way it's comparable to a musical riser. I just thought it was it's a pretty good addition over here to end it using that. So yeah, so as you can see, these four are essentially the same instruments, but they are playing different octaves. So that's why when I was mixing, I had to process them separately. I can't process all four of them as one, because then something would be off. Like if this is the bass, this is the bass section here, these chords. This processing and this processing are definitely not the same because of their octave difference. Right. So now I've packed something in this folder. Let's see what it is. Yeah, so it's another how do I call it, a supporting lead for the existing brass instrument, and this is a different sample as such. And yeah, as I thought, I had cut a lot of this and I had kept the 2k, the 2 kilohertz over here. So what's interesting about this mix is that I did this when I was a beginner. I felt that this mix was pretty mid-heavy, and I can clearly see why, because I seem to have been focusing this 500 to 2 kilohertz a lot. Many people told me this is a really mids-heavy mix, something that I should improve in orchestral mixing. But yeah, that's the thing about orchestral mixing, though, when you try to EQ, like trying to fit instruments perfectly in that order, you'll end up that one particular bandwidth of frequencies are just going to go through the roof, and that in this case it's the mids, because of the number of leads, the chords, the supporting leads, the bass section also has some level of mids in a way. So yeah, that is the thing about this particular mix. So the next part. This is the pre-chorus part. So I'll just play the entire mix. So that's what it is. So if I go to the EQ section, decided to cut off the bit of a rumble, thought that's not necessary. The 100 hertz is the strong area of the brass section in the bass area. So that's what I raised, cut off the muds as usual. Then raised a bit of the presence, not too much. It gives that buzzy nature of the brass. It feels more stronger and more upfront, as a bass section of the brass should be. So I'll just play it one more time. Yeah, it's just perfect fifths being played together. I believe it's E minor, E and G, I mean E and B, D and A, C and G, like that it's being cycled around. Now coming to the part which I think it's a mistake on my part, the kick and hi-hats. For some reason I've combined them into a wave file. So we'll hear how it goes. So this section comes in the pre-chorus, right? So oh yeah, I'll also include the snare. It's part of the percussion. So I combined the kick and hi-hats. Not a good idea. I was amateur that time. I should have made this a separate track. But I think what must have happened is I didn't know how to divide the impact XT, that plugin that's there in Studio One. I didn't know how to separate how to separate kicks, hi-hats. So for some reason when I exported it, it just came together. So I decided to just work along with it. This is not the way any mix engineer should be working with. Definitely a bad idea to have kick and hi-hats, but for this reason, the fact that I was still an amateur, I'll just explain the processing that I have done. So 50 hertz I've cut. I didn't want the kick over here to rumble too much. This is an orchestral mix. It's not a rock song or a pop song where the kick will just pump inside. So that's what I thought. And over here, this is where the I believe this is where the click of the kick happens. It could be here also. Somewhere in this two regions, I felt that the click was apparent. So naturally, when you play it in a phone speaker, you'll get that nice click sound, and that will give a good rhythmic sense. Even when you listen to it on not a very high level speaker of some sort. So remove the mids. Yeah, the kick does not need any kind of mids. Two reasons. One, I said before, the mids are really heavy in this song. But the most important reason is kick's mids are not needed. Otherwise, it gives it a cardboard sound, which is definitely bad for a kick, right? So the next is the snare. So when I look at the snare, I put a low cut on snare and I have boosted it at 1K to 2K, which is where the character of the snare is for this thing. It's not exactly at 2K or 3K or 1K, it's somewhere in the middle because of how it fits in the mix. That's it. You can roughly estimate 1K, 2K, 3K, but it's up to you to like drag this and move it around and figure out what is that sweet spot that fits exactly. And I think I barely cut the 500 hertz. I think it was resonating a bit there. Yeah, that's the snare. These are only for the pre-chorus areas. So yeah, that's about it. And then this one, I'll play it. So yeah, so this is that transition hit. I'll see what it is. Pre-chorus transition hit. So if I drag this here, yeah, got a bit of the rumble, got a bit of this area. This is pretty insignificant for that area, and removed a bit of the rumble as well. I know I keep saying I removed the rumble, but the thing is, this is what you have to do when you have 41 tracks lined together. You won't know that they are cumulatively adding one on top of the other frequencies. So you have to be really careful about this thing. So yeah, that's why sometimes the cuts might be repetitive. So the next is, let's see what this is. Yeah, so that's the cymbals, pretty straightforward. I believe it's particularly the right. It could be the crash also. I don't know. I think they two both of them are played together. Yeah, so they are like almost like overheads quality of a drum. You don't need much of the low end, right? You don't need much of the mud, and this is the strong area of it, so it gives it that presence. So I'll play the whole mix again. Yeah, so it rhythmically follows for the entire song, right? So the next is spiccato fast. Yeah, these are the musical elements again, which are yeah. So again, this continues the pre-chorus, and similar to that first spiccato strings which I had mentioned, the same thing. I had put a compressor here, keeping the strings here. Yeah, a bit of more ratio. I can see that threshold also I reduced a bit, so that again it doesn't poke out a lot in the mix. And finally in the EQ, I reduced it there. and yeah, I didn't want much of this buzziness over here. Little bit of the presence. That's about it. So yeah, this mix so far has been like adding small elements rather than highlighting the actual character of one particular instrument. So that's what it is. Solo this. Yeah. So this is the bassoon. Bassoon, is that how it is? Yeah. So I think it barely can be heard in the mix. Like I'll just play it. It's kind of appearing in the mix, right? So bassoon is a very peculiar instrument. It doesn't again this it has a lot of rumble here, which I didn't want, but I liked that at the bass notes that it was playing at, it actually provided a nice buzz over there. Like it was resonating with its natural frequency at that area. So I thought, why not just EQ like this and fit it? It'll, fit in with the bass of the brass section as well. So that's that. I'll solo this. Yeah, so this I think can be clearly heard in the mix. I'll just this is what gives it that the general presence of that Avengers theme, these chords. So here removed a bit of the rumble, added a bit of 300 hertz and also a bit of this area, that's the brass section. So I think I focused on this more in the song, this Avengers theme. I feel even in the original theme, this is what is actually given little more preference compared to the other instruments, but yeah, in a minute way. So let me solo this. Yeah, so this is gives it a nice rhythmic approach for the strings. If I go to the compressor, yeah, it's the almost pretty much the same kind of presets. EQ removed the low end, captured that the plucking effect of the strings when they pluck the spiccato, and the presence as well here, right? So I'll play it to the mix. Sort of loses the percussion value for some reason if I remove this, but yeah, I think it was a good addition, that this kind of rhythm with strings, right? Now the main brass melody. Yeah, this is a brass section from one company. Goes up to the end it plays, because you remember the chorus actually is repeating twice in the song. So this area, then the next area is repeating twice. So here what have I done? Remove the low end, bit of this I've reduced, removed the resonances and added the presence as well. Yeah. pretty much in a very similar fashion. Right, now this is the piano. Yeah, that's the piano, and I believe I applied one of the presets from here. Clear piano or dark piano, I don't remember which it was. I think it was dark piano, judging that there's a low cut here. So there's the rumble, and bit of the mud over here has been removed, and the room presence has been given here. So piano in an orchestra will sound really good if it has that that nice room presence. And yeah, this kind of gave a bit of bass area to it, so I thought that's good. Next, the percussion. We'll play that. Yeah, so this not very significant, I'll be honest. I mean, I don't think even I can hear it. I can very faintly hear it. Yeah, around this, I think around this region I can, no, not around that. Around here, maybe a bit I can hear. So again, it's that hidden percussive value to it, to you know, give it some kind of a rhythm. That's what I felt about it. The next we have the transition. Yeah, that's the brass section transition from the first chorus onto the repeat chorus next. So yeah, that's what it is. Next, yeah, quite some number of transitions in this thing. So yeah, is the spiccato thing. Nothing really too much. It's just the classic raise this and cut off this. That's it. The next is the Woodwind Melody. Strange. The woodwinds, I think this is oboe. But the thing is with oboe, something about it gives airiness. I was just experimenting it at that time. I don't know exactly what it is. Is it this region, or could it be something a little higher than that? I've actually low cutted it here, but some level of presence it's giving, which I thought is quite interesting. I'm not sure if this was there in the original theme though, but I decided to retain it. I thought it's why not? Can as well have it. Yeah. So the next is last high strings melody. Yeah, so this is when the second chorus is being repeated. The second part comes into the picture. There in the second chorus is the first part and the second part. So I'll just play it. gives a bit of that air over there. So that's what that is. Then the next part, which is last strings melody. Yeah, it's just a lower octave of that. Again, to support the main brass lead. So quite a number of leads in this, and this is the transition taiko. Yeah, this is from that first part to the second part, I think. Thought a bit of percussive transition. I think it's already there in the original theme also. So same concept. Here is the last riser. So let's have a look. Yeah. So towards when the end, in little before. It's that cymbals noise, the overheads, the ride. I think I ride that region. It could be, I think, a combination of some other instrument. It's kind of giving some bit of mids as well. I found a bit of mids here. So I thought that was a nice way to end that. So yeah, in summary, over nearly an hour of explaining this, this thing, the way I arranged this mix, right? So if I go to the global view, yeah, I switch off the mixer panel, and yeah. So the way I arranged this, right? I didn't think of arranging it like brass section, string section, woodwind section, then percussion. I didn't arrange it like that because at different parts of the song, these many are relevant at that point of time. Then for this section of the song, something is happening, but these tracks are not actively involved. That's why I put first to indicate what portion of the mix are they playing at, right? So the first to end power brass chords, yeah, that's how it is. And for some obvious instruments like kick plus hi-hats, I can definitely hear that this is the only place they are playing at, so I don't necessarily need to write first part kick and hi-hats. Pre-chorus, chorus, the piano also is an obvious instrument, and then the transitions, the last side. Yeah, so I think yeah, I also couldn't color scheme this in case anybody any DAW enthusiasts are there. I couldn't color scheme this because number of reasons. Look, there's hardly any colors in this thing. Like there's just, I think, about 88 or something. Not really a good way for me to color scheme this, and I can't really choose all of these and put it to blue color. That would look kind of I don't know, it'll be a little confusing, and in case I solo a track, it's difficult to figure out which is solo. Like if I had all of these in the same color, then it's a bit of a mess. So I thought just retain the random color that comes out of it when you import into the file. And yeah, 41 tracks, the Avengers theme. 41 layers of wave files for this mixing session. So yeah, it takes about 2-3 weeks to musically figure out and assemble all of this in a way that it's presentable for mixing, because I can't just make 100 tracks at a go and then let's start mixing it and then we'll figure out what to do. It's not that easy to do. So because I mixed it and I did all that by myself, I kind of had an idea like how should the final how will the process be while I'm mixing. So based on that, thought process, I made this many tracks. Didn't add too many unwanted tracks, and I didn't apply a materialistic method of mixing, like you have more layers means that it'll sound more good. That's not true. I think it's also the musical part is quite important while making. So yeah, so like I said, the original this original session is actually there as a video on my channel, so please do go and watch it. And this is not the only thing that I've done. I've done Interstellar, I've done Home Alone theme, I've even done the Batman Dark Knight theme. So in case you guys are interested in whatever are the behind the scenes, if you want to know, just leave a comment in the comment section below. Don't forget to like this video, and it helps. And yeah, hopefully next video might be having a talk video next. I don't know. Just write in the comment section whatever you like. Okay, thanks guys. Thanks for watching this far into the video, and see you next time.